Coming up on 5 Minute News. Putin instigates martial law in Ukraine and similar in Russia. Trump claim that his 2016 campaign was sabotaged comes to nothing. And British PM vows to stay on despite party chaos. It's Thursday, October 20. I'm Anthony Davis. Russian President Vladimir Putin doubled down on Wednesday on his faltering invasion of Ukraine with a declaration of martial law in 4 illegally annexed regions and preparations within Russia for draconian new restrictions and crackdowns. Putin's drastic efforts to tighten his grip on Ukrainians and Russians following a series of embarrassing setbacks, stinging battlefield defeats, sabotage, and troubles with his troop mobilization. The martial law order belies the Kremlin's attempt to portray life in the annexed regions as returning to normal. The reality is that a military administration has replaced civilian leaders in the southern city of Kherson, and a mass evacuation from the city is underway as a Ukrainian counter-offensive grinds on. Putin's martial law declaration authorized the creation of civil defense forces, the potential imposition of curfews, restrictions on travel and public gatherings, tighter censorship, and broader law enforcement powers in Kherson and other annexed regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, and Zaporizhzhia. In an ominous move, Putin opened the door for restrictive measures to be extended across Russia too. That may lead to a tougher crackdown on dissent than the current dispersal of anti-war protests and jailing of people making statements or providing information about the fighting that differs from the official line. Former President Donald Trump once predicted that a special prosecutor appointed during his administration would uncover the crime of the century, a conspiracy to sink his 2016 campaign. Yet here are the results of the 3-year probe by prosecutor John Durham, 2 trial acquittals, the latest on Tuesday, and a former FBI attorney sentenced to probation. That has fallen far short of Donald Trump supporters' expectations that Durham would reveal a deep state plot behind the US government's investigation into ties between Russia and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The outcome has led to scrutiny over the purpose of Durham's appointment by former Attorney General William Barr, who tasked him with sussing out misconduct in the Trump-Russia probe. It also has raised questions about whether or when the current Attorney General, Merrick Garland, might move to rein in Durham's work or hasten its completion. There are no signs Durham plans to charge anyone else in his investigation. He's expected to produce a report at some point, but it's unclear whether he will identify any significant misconduct or errors beyond those already reported by the Justice Department's watchdog. Barr gave Durham a broad mandate in 2019 to hunt for wrongdoing by the FBI or other agencies in the early days of their investigation into potential coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia. The appointment was made shortly after the conclusion of an investigation by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, which found substantial contacts between Russians and Trump associates. The year ended with just one criminal case, a guilty plea by an FBI lawyer who admitted doctoring an internal email related to the surveillance of a former Trump campaign advisor. Kevin Kleinsmith was sentenced to probation rather than prison. Notably, the case involved conduct uncovered in an earlier investigation by the Inspector General rather than by Durham's team. 2 other criminal cases, also narrow in nature, faltered. On Tuesday, a jury acquitted Igor Danchenko, a Russian analyst at a US think tank, who'd been accused of lying to the FBI about his role in the creation of a largely discredited dossier, a compendium of unproven assertions that sought to tie Trump to Russia. British Prime Minister Liz Truss described herself as a fighter and not a quitter on Wednesday, as she faced a hostile opposition and fury from her own Conservative Party over her botched economic plan. Within hours of the defiant statement, her government was teetering on the verge of collapse. A senior member of the government left her post with a letter of criticism of Truss, and a House of Commons vote descended into acrimony and accusations of bullying. Home Secretary Suella Braverman said she resigned after breaching rules by sending an official document from her personal email account. She used her resignation letter to lambast Truss, saying she had concerns about the direction of the government. Truss faced more turmoil in Parliament on Wednesday evening on a vote over fracking for shale gas, a practice that Truss wants to resume despite opposition from many Conservatives. There were angry scenes in the House of Commons during and after the vote, with party whips accused of using heavy-handed tactics to gain votes. Conservative officials denied there had been manhandling, but in the chaos, Truss herself failed to vote. Many Tory lawmakers were left despondent by the state of their party. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.